Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It is I, Captain Logan, and joining me, as always, is my wonderful chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez. DJ, how are you, sir?
I feel like I should be marching like an infantry or something. What is this? What is this lovely tune you're gracing us with?
That is Bowser's Road from, I guess I could keep playing it for a second while we're talking. That is Bowser's Road from Mario 64. We've had a little bit of a theme for the lead-in music the last few shows. Now that you've actually specifically asked about a track, I guess I'll talk about that. But this is my favorite track from Mario 64. I want to say I've played an orchestration of this before, maybe the one that was in... was it a Mario Galaxy or Mario Odyssey? I forget. But yeah, so when you say marching, it's actually more like shimmying very carefully across planks that you're trying not to fall down while there is plumes of fire coming at you. But yeah, that's my favorite Bowser music. Almost tied, though, with the castles from Mario World, because that's really good stuff, too.
Yeah. Sorry, you were cutting in and out because the music was playing, so I couldn't catch all of that. But yeah, it was good. It was a good jam.
Well, the viewers got to hear it, and that's what's really important.
That's all that matters.
You can go back later and listen to the first 30 seconds and be like, oh, now I know what he was saying.
And I'm like, oh, I had a great point to say, but oh well, next time.
It's been a couple of weeks, guys, and every time we take a week off, it feels like a couple of months to me.
It does. It's so weird.
I got a message from DJ today. He was like, I'm really glad that we're doing the show tonight. It feels like I haven't seen you in forever. Well, and I think part of that might be because we used to usually do a couple shows a week together, and because schedules have gotten different, we haven't been able to do that in a while. I would like to try to, in the not-too-distant future, not to put you on the spot, DJ, but to figure out how to start making that happen again. Get a second show a week together, be it this or something else. But
for sure, man.
I miss doing the double Captain Logan
like
shows.
If one of us ever has to drop out of this and we have to stop the show for some reason, I'm gonna have like withdrawals for like 6 months. I swear.
It's kind of part of the rhythm of your week. Well, let's talk about that and see if we can figure out where to put it in. Probably harder for me than you right now because I've changed the whole schedule around and we're doing requests on Tuesdays now and stuff. But we'll figure it out. I would like to make that happen. Hopefully,
you're already streaming like almost every day. So.
I'm streaming a lot, but this has been kind of. By the way, sorry about the sound my computer is making. Every now and again, if I tug on the wrong cord, drives will and other things connected to my computer will start like installing and uninstalling. It's weird.
Your computer's like when you step on your cat's tail.
Yeah.
Like you step on the cord like.
Yeah, you really have to kind of tiptoe around my production machine and just make sure you don't touch too much. So, I don't know. It's entirely possible that at some point I just won't even be able to move my mouse anymore.
Oh.
But
that's okay. I look at the chat. I'll give you the question. You just have to stand there and stare into the camera.
This will be the 205th episode of this show. I'd love to hear from people about the notion of coming back and doing this twice a week again, because I don't know if we're in a place now where it's just not even viable, DJ. We've answered so many questions. There's just so many questions.
No, they're all going to grab their pitchforks and start throwing apples and tomatoes at us. Apples would hurt. Do they ever throw apples? It's usually tomatoes.
It's tomatoes and cabbage, according to the Penguin in Batman Returns. That line keeps coming up.
At least they're generous and they throw like the softest of vegetables at you.
Sure, yeah. Well,
like root vegetables. Whew, like get a rutabaga to the face. Like, good grief, that would take you down.
Yeah, I think it really depends on motivation, like with most things, DJ. So the question is, are you trying to give the guy a concussion because you don't like the cut of his jib, or the speech he's giving, or are you trying to embarrass him? And if you're trying to embarrass him, you throw, like paint and stuff. And if you're trying to knock him out, you have many, many options of things that even today you probably could, with high security, get into an amphitheater or something.
A bag of potatoes into a politician's speech or something, and just get hauled out.
I'm always here to give people advice on any subject.
Eggs is a good one. That's a good one.
Oh, yes, eggs is a thing that people throw. No, I'm kidding. I'm not condoning actually throwing things at people you don't like on a stage.
No, we don't support that here.
I mean, who even goes to see anything live anymore anyway?
No, people just end up throwing it at their
It's not like a concert.
Zoom call.
When was the last time you went... Yeah, exactly. Or you know, if you have to see a movie at a movie theater, like you throw something at the screen, you popcorn or whatever, and you're like,
Oh,
oh,
then just the poor guy has to clean it
they're
up.
not, they're not, yeah, they're not even here, and all I really did was get the floor greasy.
Ugh.
Like, when was the last time you were at a concert where the music was like a concert that you intended to go to because it was a band you liked, where the music was so bad, if you had eggs, you would throw them?
Why would you have eggs? That's the real question.
Like, I've been to
I always
shows.
keep a baker's dozen just in the backpack, just in case.
I've been to shows that were maybe a little bit disappointing from what I was expecting, but never just so bad that I would throw things at the people on. I mean, I would never do that anyway. But were I the type, you know, I wouldn't end up doing that. Anyway, welcome everybody. We're already 6 minutes into the Captain Logan show, and we have not even really started. It's another Ask Me Anything show. Anytime throughout the show, whatever you'd like us to talk about, pop culture related or otherwise within reason, sci-fi, superhero stuff, movies, comics, television, what have you. Feel free to leave a super chat in any dollar amount that guarantees that we'll chat about whatever you would like us to. That helps keep the train rolling here on Geekvolution, and lets me continue to tell the lie that this is a real job. Thank you guys very much for if you've ever done that or ever will do that. We really appreciate you. But don't feel like you have to do that. We'll do some pre-written as well. So just leave comments with questions or topic ideas and tag them at DJ Martinez or at The Welder or at Guy with Mike in his face, and DJ will answer to any of those things and more, and we will answer, again, as many questions as possible. We've got a lead-in topic tonight. We're going to chat a little bit about the really bizarre strategy, I have to use in air quotes, that CW is using right now in canceling and greenlighting shows, particularly superhero shows. But before we get into that, DJ, I don't know if you can tell just by my demeanor this evening, but for whatever reason, I've been in something of a melancholy mood just all day long. It's just that sort of day.
Melon Cappy.
And I don't know if this will cheer me up more or put me in even more of the funk that I'm in right now, but I'm going to do a little karaoke again. I'm going to sing a song for you to kick off the evening, and then we'll get into tonight's lead-in topic. This is one of my go-to karaoke songs. I go to this a lot, and I just was in the mood, felt like it, and this is what I'm going to do. I don't know if DJ will be able to hear my voice because of the weird thing that keeps going on his end, where if I play music, he can't hear me, but I'm going to,
It's for, like we said, it's for the people.
It's for the people, yeah.
And it's to lift your own spirits. Lift your spirits, lift the people's spirits. I will sit here in a moment of silence.
A moment of silence. Well, DJ, the timestamp is 8 minutes and 20 seconds if you want to go back and listen to this as well after the fact.
I got a lot of homework after this episode.
You really do. I took my love, I took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around. And I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Well, I've been afraid of changing 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Take my love, take it down. I climb a mountain and I turn around. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, will the landslide bring you down? And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, will the landslide bring you down? The landslide, bring it down. So DJ, the CW is crazy town.
Love it. No segue, just let's jump right into it.
It's just absolutely crazy what is happening right now, and obviously has been for quite a while. Recently, Batwoman was canceled. I really expected a question about that last week. That's how much nobody cares. They don't even want to make fun of it anymore.
No, just sweep it under the rug, pretend it didn't happen.
I was hearing from some folks, or I think, I can't remember if Blue Dragon 5 mentioned it or who else, but somebody before the show, and I've seen some messages about it, were kind of jokingly or otherwise concerned about Austin, because Austin likes to play up how big of a fan he is of Batwoman, and now it's been canceled.
Austin's devastated. He's been crying himself to sleep ever since the news dropped.
So I want to say that shouldn't have been a shock to anybody, except for the longest time, if the CW has anything like ratings, not actual ratings, just something akin to ratings, they keep a show on forever. Arrow was on for 8 years, well past the actual real popularity of that show. The Flash is still on, but they've just announced that it's getting, like I think, a half season to finish up. Or is it, no, is that show actually finishing straight up with the season they have right now? I think that's what I read, is that they were supposed to get one more season, and the cast and crew was just too tired to keep doing it, so they got the CW to cancel them.
Wow, they
It's amazing.
Please cancel our show. We're sick of it.
Yeah, they just don't even care about the work they're doing anymore, it sounds like. And I mean, don't get me wrong, those shows are, like, obviously beasts to work on. Like, any kind of action show, anything with a lot of costume work, we know how grueling, just from a lot of interviews, particularly on like Michael Rosenbaum's podcast and other places, that Steve Amell and other actors have talked about, just the grueling schedules, just like the slave drivers that those producers kind of have to be to get all the gears running. With Batwoman, there were kind of questions of, you know, safety issues and stuff like that. I don't know for sure that every show there was like actual questionable things going on, but I just mean any show like that is very complicated to make, and people, especially if they're, you know, high on the call sheet, are going to be putting in a lot of 12, 14 hours a day, and if they're doing multiple seasons, are not going to get to see their family and friends all that often. And so I just put in that caveat to say that, yeah, I'm sure they were tired even if they liked the work they were doing, but wouldn't you think that if it was going well and they loved what they were doing, that there would be more talk about particular actors just seeing if they could get out, as opposed to, could we just stop, please? Could we just make the show not happen anymore? I don't know that any of them would have been saying that a couple of years ago, when suddenly the writing was a little bit better and everybody seemed a little bit more positive on it.
Yeah, it's interesting comparing that. That's basically the modern day Power Rangers in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The actors are just overworked, and they're cranking out a ton of episodes a season still for some reason. I don't know why they feel like they need that many, and the actors probably aren't getting paid that well.
I mean, I guess it's just that the CW, you know, needs material to put on broadcast, because it's entirely the old-fashioned model, but then like other networks are doing that and don't necessarily have to have 23 or even 20 episode seasons. I mean, it seems like maybe the issue is just they don't have the resources to greenlight a lot of new shows, and they don't have enough reality TV and things like that like they used to. And like I think they put all their eggs in the superhero basket at one time when they were waffling and saying we don't want to become the superhero network, and then I think at some point they finally said screw it, I guess that's what we're doing now. And so they had all of these TV shows in the Arrowverse, but then even most of their other stuff was still based on comics. You had iZombie for a while, which was actually a good show. You've got Riverdale. There was the show called Naomi that was a comic book thing that I think is a DC character that was really obscure and nobody cared about, and it just got canceled. I heard, and I don't know if this was news like brand new today or if I just heard about it the same day, but today we got word of two things happening, or at least I think simultaneously, unless the Naomi news was yesterday or the day before, but at least in the same week, DJ. Naomi, 13 episodes and got canceled. So that one they didn't even do for CW a full season order. They've already canceled it. It's not getting a second season. That tells you where they're at right now, resource-wise and viewership-wise, right? Batwoman got canceled a while back, a few weeks ago. But at the same time, they just called for a season order of a new DC superhero show that I'm assuming will not be Arrowverse. And get this, it's another Batman show without Batman. They canceled Batwoman and greenlit a Gotham Knights show with what sounds like a horrible premise. And all I saw it on, because I saw a tweet about this. I don't follow Twitter, but somebody in the private Discord posted this. So I went to Twitter and just out of curiosity, I looked at all the comments after, attached to this post. And DJ, I saw not one positive comment about this. Scrolling down like 50. It was just a lot of like, CW, what are you doing? We thought you were ending all your superhero shows. We thought that the Arrowverse was ending, and it probably still is, but it's like, it's the most counterintuitive thing ever. Even if you're going to go to another superhero show based on a DC property, why on earth would you cancel the Batman thing, the peripheral Batman thing without Batman in it, that nobody cared about, and then greenlight another one of those? Especially because the last time this was attempted on that network, back in the early 2000s, it was canceled after 13 episodes. It was called Birds of Prey, and the main reason, and I liked that show, but the main reason people didn't watch that show was because they didn't like the way Batman was thrown under the bus, and he just left Gotham and quit and gave up his life and gave up everybody he cared about. And then Batwoman more or less does the same thing. And then this show is apparently set in the future at some point. Batman is dead, and Batman's adopted son is blamed for the murder, along with several children of Batman Rogues Gallery of villains. Who's gonna watch that? That sounds terrible.
It's like the next Avengers. Remember that straight to DVD animated movie?
I heard that was good.
Yeah, interesting. But it's the kids villains also. It's
yeah,
like, that sounds like a Disney like a Disney
Descendants,
kids show.
right? It sounds like the Descendants thing.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, well, that's the most CW thing Disney's ever done. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's like, yeah, all of the villains also had kids, and we all are just keeping this going.
Let's be fair, the Disney Channel really just is the Disney version of the CW, or at least it was until Disney Plus. I don't know what it's like now, but like...
Yeah, well, yeah, CW is just basically Disney Channel with, like, darker lighting.
Yeah, kind of aimed at some of the same audience. Maybe Disney Channel, a lot of their programming a little bit younger, where it's almost like, it's more like preteen stuff than teenage or young adult. But anyway, it's so counterintuitive. So they did a season order, which means it's definitely happening, so they'll make at least 13 episodes. I I can't imagine what the ratings will look like. I don't know why anybody would watch that. I mean, first of all, that network hasn't had any, and I mean, the numbers were never great with those shows compared to other networks, but the CW only needed, really a fraction of what the big networks get to keep shows on. And we talked about this a couple months ago, we learned that they've been operating at a loss almost the entire time anyway. And so the goal was never to actually make a return on those investments, apparently. I guess it was just, it's been a while since we talked about this. I honestly can't even remember what the strategy was for operating at a loss. Do you remember? Because we talked about this.
No, I don't. We talk about so many things on the show.
Well, and it's been a while since I've looked into this, and so it's just all of a sudden it's not coming. I'm forgetting. Somebody remind me in the comments if you remember us talking about this, but because it was, I'm not remembering because it was so weird and again kind of counterintuitive. But it was just kind of this placeholder thing where they just made things, and if they did well enough, they kept them going. Daniel Davis CW was a second-rate network, yeah, and starting all the way back with the WB and UPN, both of which were these kinds of second-rate networks that didn't have a lot of market share and viewership share. That's what it was. Nicholas Montes, they made their money selling to Netflix internationally. That's right. So remember, they would, and so I don't know what exactly was going on before that, because we looked at the numbers and they were operating at a loss even before Netflix, but I guess they were just hoping that after a certain number of years, they would start turning a profit. It would be my guess. But anyway, so thank you for reminding me of that, because all their stuff up until recently, when certain things like Superman and Lois go to HBO Max, their shows have been going to Netflix, and most people at some point were watching their stuff more on Netflix than they were actually watching it broadcast. So my guess is those numbers have also significantly dropped, but you'd never know it because it's not like Netflix publishes their numbers. But anyway, so like I said, it was looking like they were just getting out of that game entirely. There was that report a while back that a big company was talking about buying the CW, and we had that whole debate, DJ, about or I guess it was just a big question mark, really, about what in the world you were buying if you buy the CW. Because they have a parent company that owns all their properties, so it's not like if you buy the CW, suddenly you get to make DC superhero stuff. And what else do they have, really? So, were you just getting that name? Who wants that name? Start your own network. Why would you want that baggage? They have a horrible reputation.
Yeah, I have no idea what you would want that for, unless they have certain, reality shows, or I don't know what they have.
Cubics, that's what it was. I think there was a last-ditch effort made to try to bring back the interest and clout that the Arrowverse had in the early days. Because remember, there was a time where a lot, especially comic fans, where relatively a lot of people were looking at their stuff, and they had at least a kind of cult core following that was every bit as into that stuff as people were and are into the MCU now. I'm not saying they ever had that, obviously, that big of a fan base, but they had ravenous fans that were as interested in it and that looked at it religiously back in the days when it was just Arrow and Flash, and then even when Supergirl came into the mix, I want to say, even when Arrow got really bad, there were still a lot of people that didn't jump ship yet, and it was still, popular enough that they probably could have steered into away from the skid and charted a new course and gotten their ducks back in a row and gotten a little bit more sober and not been as pandery and just been a little bit smarter and more sophisticated with their stories. That never happened, and I think the last ditch effort to get people on board again was Crisis. And that was horrible. And a lot of people were excited about that hadn't looked at the CW for years, and some people that even never did that because they were beating Marvel to the punch on the thing that Marvel's doing right now, which is multiverse, and particularly bringing in old properties and making them canonical with your new properties had never really been done before. It was kind of a pioneering thing. And yeah, gimmicky, and yeah, we don't want it to take over the stories in the movies, and that's why folks like me and DJ were not super happy with Spider-Man No Way Home. But there was a chance in it being really cool. You could have a really good story that. This sounds like there's a lot of ifs, but if you could have a good story that also soft rebooted that universe like the original Comic Crisis did to clear the board and make it a little bit less confusing and complicated and get rid of some of the retconny crap that didn't work, particularly some of the stuff they did with Flashpoint. Still weird to do Flashpoint before before Crisis. And then you had, some fun cameos along the way, or even gasp, shock, and awe, actually allow some of the actors and characters from other things to get to be supporting cast for a couple of episodes. It would have been great, and people would have maybe stuck with you with whatever show they found most interesting. Because right then they had the most shows that they ever had, and they hadn't gotten rid of anything yet. And so, anyway, that didn't work. It was awful, and it was all downhill from there. So, I guess it's not true that CW is, or I guess that's either fallen through or that company lost interest, because if they're greenlighting shows, because it's been a while since they greenlit anything, and I think things that they've been talking about greenlighting have not come to fruition. So, I think there was every reason to think up until today that they were maybe done. And just letting some of their shows play out, or get through some seasons and then shut everything down. But I guess not.
Guys. We figured out what the problem was. You didn't like that Batman adjacent show, so we've got a whole nother Batman adjacent show, and our problems are solved. We fixed it. We've solved it.
Oh, what are they doing? Nobody's going to watch that.
If that ever comes out, it's got to go to HBO Max, right?
I would assume so.
If it comes out, I don't even know if it's going to come out. They'll probably just see the reaction on Twitter and be like, oh, maybe we should just put our tails between our legs and forget about this.
You're right, and I don't know that I've ever seen this happen where you get an order and then they go, you know what, never mind, like the next day or the next week. I guess they have a window right now where if they've just announced, if they've just announced that it's going to a season order, there can't have been any real pre-production work done yet. So if they wanted to pull the plug now, they could, but they're real out of touch. Like, nobody's like Batwoman. Hardly at all since the beginning. And you can tell by the numbers. They'd have, I don't know, 400,000 or 500,000 people watching that show by the middle of the second season, maybe even less than that. When Red Letter Media videos are consistently beating you by twice, you have a problem. On broadcast television. You have to be able to do better than 1 million people a week. You do. And that used to be an absurd number to keep a show on for any network, but we live in a different time now.
Yeah. Robert Wild puts in a $2 super chat just to say, please, God, let the Flash show end.
And it is. So you're getting your wish there. Darren, the last thing I heard greenlit was Powerpuff Girls. My inner thoughts, please don't. Well, and not actually unless you've heard something I haven't, because they made a pilot, and it must have been even
so
worse than I could.
Thought they couldn't even keep it on their.
Yeah, I was going to say, it must be worse than I could even possibly imagine, because their standards are clearly very in the floor, and even they passed on that pilot. And then they lost one of their actresses. Oh. Right after that, I think the girl playing Blossom dropped out. Blossom or Buttercup, I forget.
One of the three.
AMC, I legitimately don't get the argument that Daredevil made the Arrowverse obsolete. I like Daredevil fine, but I've never saw it as this revelation and was never as emotionally invested. So I agree with half your comment. I still think that in some ways the first season of Daredevil anyway, maybe not the rest of it, but the first season is some of, if not the best comic book adaptation we've had. That's just my opinion. And a really smart show, and I was very emotionally invested in that. But there's plenty of room for more lighthearted and more popcorn and less, I don't know, emotionally deep storytelling with superhero stuff, and frankly, DC over Marvel is more of the place to do that. Wouldn't it be nice if we had more like, I don't want to say Silver Age, because obviously you can still tell kind of modern stories, but just lighter and more like iconic over realistic superhero storytelling with classic DC superheroes versus something more like novel-esque with Marvel. And for a minute it seemed like we maybe kind of had that, and then we jumped the shark very, very quickly with those CW shows. So I agree with the AMC in that there's no reason that had to be the Arrow killer, in that they were both doing somewhat different things. Now Arrow was obviously the darker and more tragic of those shows, but it still didn't go anywhere to the places and never wanted to that Daredevil was going.
We have another super chat about this from T-Edge1.
Okay.
He says, it's because most actors / creatures that work for shows on channels like the CW mostly get paid based on how much money the shows make, meaning the CW doesn't have to pay as much, basically cooking the books.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if it's cooking the books, because I would think that you'd, especially at this point, you'd kind of know what you were getting yourself into if that's what the contracts were. Where, like, if you look at any ratings of any show on the CW and you sign up to act in one of those shows, you've got to be like, okay, well,
This is just for my
I'm eating Taco Bell this weekend.
This is just for exposure. I'm not actually expecting to get any money out of this.
Yeah, but to be fair, there are also actors, and I don't know what people are being paid on those shows. At least the kind of stars of those shows, I haven't heard anybody really complain about not making enough, even after they've left and gone long enough that I don't know if anybody's been gone, to be fair, long enough where they wouldn't still be under NDAs and stuff, so maybe this is a moot point, but I haven't heard anybody, first of all, come out and say, like, we didn't get paid well enough. But you also have lots of people in some of these shows that are starting to end that are kind of sad that that their shows are done, which is code for they're not going to have the regular meal ticket anymore, and they might be that way even if they weren't getting paid enough because they don't know if they can get work after that. I realize that, but I don't know. Something makes me think that is not as much of the problem. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they can't be paying as well as regular network shows, obviously. But I kind of get the sense from people like Katie Lotz that it can't be, and Stephen Amell, that it can't be terrible. But I guess I don't know for sure.
People are ranking all of their all-time favorite superhero TV shows in the chat, and I kind of want to do that now.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, and there are a lot of them now. It's so strange going back to when Arrow began and thinking, like, how few live-action, serious superhero dramas we had at that point, which is part of the reason that when we started getting more of them, and most of them were decent to great, I wanted to review everything as it was coming out, because I said back then I felt spoiled that we were getting so much comic book adaptation like this, and it didn't take very long before I didn't feel that way anymore, and I got real burnout, and it wasn't because there was too much of it. It was because, I mean, maybe even if it was all great, it would have at some point felt like oversaturation, but it felt like oversaturation because there was a lot of it and most of it was not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have to think about that for some. I don't know. I think Watchmen, Daredevil season 1, and Jessica Jones season 1, and Legion season 1 would be in my top 5 probably, but I'd have to think about it. There's a lot of stuff. Absolutely.
I loved the pilot for Legion. I've got to finally finish that. I've had a request on the books for that forever, for a rewind back when I was still taking full season requests, and I'm still going to honor that one as at least an off-the-cuff rewind. Jeffrey asked for that a long, long time ago.
Yeah, good old Jeffrey. We used to talk about that show. It's really good.
Yeah, so I'll be surprised if that doesn't wind up on my list. But just off the top of my head, like, what would you said 3? What would my 3 be? Daredevil, definitely. I would say Luke Cage if the second half of that first season was as good as the first half, because I think those first 6 episodes, some of the best television I've ever seen. But then it kind of falls off after that. It kind of felt like 2 half seasons with a mediocre second season. But then, so yeah, it'd be Daredevil. It would be Amazon Tick. Absolutely. And then it's really hard not to say 60s Batman, but we're talking about more serious stuff, I guess. Well, The Tick was a comedy also. But,
whatever you want. Yeah, it's your choice.
But it's also a really good drama, so.
That's true. And it's cool you have that and Daredevil on there, because it was such like a companion piece with Daredevil.
It was. The Tick definitely felt like, whether it meant to or not, it felt like a parody of that show. I want to say, the first season and a half of Arrow.
Hey, I just said 1 season, so you can count just 1 season. We'll just do seasons if we ever do that.
Are we talking about just superhero and comic things, or does it have to be adaptation?
I don't think so. I think people were just saying superhero in general.
Because if it was just superhero in general, my third pick is the first season of Heroes.
Oh yeah. I thought you were going to say the Cape.
No, not the Cape. All right, let's find out.
You and I are the only ones that remember that show.
Let's find out what folks are saying in Super Chats, and then maybe we can get to some pre-written as well. Go ahead.
Someday we're going to do a marathon of the Cape, guys. It's only like 6 episodes or something, so we could totally do that.
Did it not get 12? Did it only get 6?
I don't remember. I have it on DVD. I could see how many it is. But
you know why he bought that? Because it was $5.
All right. I'm going to jump back up to the beginning of the Super Chats. Anything goes. What do we got here? Michael McAllister. $4.99. If someone was a time traveler or going through a Groundhog Day scenario, how much would it take for them to convince you? What if they were just crazy?
That's a spectacular question.
Question of the stream so far. I mean, it's the first one.
That's great. I'm surprised nobody's ever asked that. Okay, so my immediate response to that, DJ, is I don't know if my fandom helps this or hurts this.
That's true. I was going to say, this is very different than if it just happened before Groundhog Day existed, right? Because now we've seen it a million times.
Yeah, we're familiar with the concept. So are you more or less likely to think your leg is being pulled? Because this is the trope, right? The way it's played a lot, and I mean with anything, with time travel, with I'm Captain Kirk from the future, or I'm an alien from another planet, or I'm from another dimension, or I'm actually a robot. Whatever it is, the trope tends to be. I'm I'm DJ Martinez and he's Captain Logan. The trope tends to be people think that you're playing a prank on them, and when are you going to stop joking? Let's get serious again. But you're right. Like before Groundhog Day or before the popularity of whatever the conceit we're talking about is, I might think rather that a lot of people would just be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like I can't even get my head around the thing that you're claiming right now. This is weird. Like sometimes when I'm going on a tangent. Sometimes when I see those things, I go, I don't know if the first thing a person would jump to is prank.
I think it would be, this guy's just crazy, like the commenter said, like what?
Yeah.
I don't even understand what you're saying.
I don't even know what you're saying. But then I wonder if, because I'm so familiar with these ideas that if you could present, I've talked about this before, if you could present enough evidence to me that say there are aliens that landed on Earth, or that you're that you were resurrected from the dead, or whatever it is, I would be more likely to be able to wrap my mind around it and not go into some kind of crazy Neo Matrix fit because I'm familiar with the idea. But if you can't give me enough evidence, I think I might be a lot less likely to believe you than I would. I'd be less gullible, I think, because I'd go, well, you just saw the same TV I did.
No, yeah, I was going to say the same. So I think it entirely depends on how smart the person trying to tell me it is. Like, if or not smart, but how good they are at conveying it. Like,
so if he's clearly an idiot.
Like, I think I would be super, super skeptical. I would not believe you at all. But if you could present evidence, like Cap was saying, like there is an easy way, like he does in Groundhog's Day, just like go learn a bunch of things and then come back to me the next day and like say all these things that there's no way you could possibly know, and then convince me. I think you could do it. But you can't be dumb. You can't just be like, hey, I'm having the same every day, and like start screaming at me like you're a crazy person. Like, I think you could convince me with evidence, like Cap was saying.
Yeah, you're right. With something like Groundhog Day, where you're in, for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, you're in a causality loop, and you've been able to see the same event happen like 28 times, day to day to day. So remember that the person you're talking to is reset every day. So they're going through the day like it's the very first time, but you've done it 28 times. And if you sit in that room and watch them do whatever they do at that moment in time, you would be able to tell them, like he does in that movie, this person is about to walk into the door, this person is going to drop some dishes, etc., etc. What would the other explanation be? Like, it would have to be something where I can't think of anything more plausible than this. Or that the only other explanation is that you're such a brilliant con artist that, like, I don't even know what your motivation would be until you start asking me for money or something, and you haven't yet. So, like, maybe I would remain skeptical. But at the point where the practicality is too crazy, like, I might start to believe you.
Did you ever see Palm Springs 2020?
Like, if you're lying, you deserve for me to believe you. This is such a good con.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard of that.
It is a causality loop Hulu original movie from 2020, and it's very clever and it's very entertaining.
Wow, I should watch that.
It is a causality loop, but he convinces someone, like he brings someone. This will be the hook. I won't tell you anything else, but he's able to bring someone into the causality loop with him. It's really cool.
Oh.
It's an Andy Samberg. It's kind of a comedy, kind of a drama. It was a fun little Hulu exclusive movie to watch in 2020 when we had nothing to watch.
Watching it because of the conceit in the first place, and it's the 13th of them that you're doing. So you'd have to watch that. What is that movie? Something Die Repeat.
Live Die Repeat.
Whatever that movie's actually called.
Edge of Tomorrow.
The Edge of Tomorrow, yeah, that's what it was. That's a good one. You'd have to watch Happy Death Day.
Yeah. Yeah, J.K. Simmons is in that Palm Springs movie, and so is the guy who's playing Superman on that HBO Max show.
Oh, really? Okay, I will probably try to watch it then. I like him quite a bit.
I think he's more of a tertiary character, but I think he's like the fourth build. But anyway,
that's cool.
Michael McAllister again, $4.99.
That Superman show was that's the first time he's been like a title character, I think, because he gets his start in the Teen Wolf show, and he's kind of an antagonistic character in that.
That makes sense.
I love that question though. I guess real quick, because we never like fully answered it, but like I guess the answer is, boy, I'm just not sure. Like I actually can't fully answer it. I guess what it would take to convince me, I guess, like we said, is just you can't. I can't imagine any other answer. I guess, but
yeah, like I don't believe you're psychic or that you're like supernatural. So I guess that's the most plausible answer. So I'm just gonna go. I would just go with it just to see. Even if I didn't believe him, I want to go on this adventure and have a fun time. They always seem to have fun in these movies. They always seem to have fun in these movies, so let me just go with it.
We always play up the nerd or the geek in things, especially before that became more mainstream and it was more like hip to be a nerd or whatever. That sounds like a Huey Lewis song now. But we always used to, this is a trope too, we always used to play it like, the nerdy guy has an almost break from reality. He's obsessed with his Star Trek or his Star Wars or his comics or whatever, and he thinks that because he loves this thing, it must be real. And as soon as the aliens show up, he goes, I knew it all along, that Galaxy Quest thing. I think there are people who are, antisocial and out of touch and don't have the best grasp on reality. I think the majority of us that are as into this stuff as I am, are going to be more skeptical than your average person.
Yeah. I don't know. We're in a weird place where these things have become so commonplace nowadays.
Yeah, that even like the grandma up the street knows what the multiverse is now.
Speaking of geeky things, Michael
Speaking of
McAllister.
grandma up the street.
Michael McAllister, who would win in a fight?
Oh no. We don't do these.
I don't know what he means. Who would win in a fight, John Cena or the Invisible Man?
Flip a coin? Yeah.
One of these is a fictional character.
I notoriously don't like who would win in a fight questions. They're always really arbitrary, and they're kind of too, old school, nerdy for me. But, yeah, I guess the money is probably on the Invisible Man for anybody that's not, like, even bigger than John Cena. I don't know.
I go with Invisible Man because I really like that movie. That's a good
Sean
movie.
Kelling, I maybe didn't use the best word choice. He says, I am antisocial, but I have an incredible grasp on reality.
Me too, John. Me too. All right, T-Edge won $5 with the continued growth and streaming. I'm just going to read this one straight. We're going to figure it out together.
Okay.
With the continued growth and streaming services and cord cutting, at what point does the question, do you / what do you watch on TV, become outdated, or does it?
I don't know that the question ever becomes outdated, because if you're friends with people, you might be curious to know what they're looking at. In fact, I'm gonna go this far, because I think what he's probably getting at is the point we're always making about the lack of cultural touchstones now, where everything is so. You've got so much stuff vying for your attention. Everybody's in their own circles. We're not watching the same 3 TV channels, and we might be going to some of the same movies. That's kind of the last vestige of that to some degree, where the movie theaters are showing, the big blockbusters, and people aren't going to a lot else. I don't mean to say that people go to nothing else, but okay, maybe most of us go and see Doctor Strange, but there's going to be 55 DJ good TV shows on right now that you've never heard of, and you'll never have a chance to look at, and by the time you find out about them, it might be 10 years down the line. I think what are you watching becomes a much more relevant question.
Yeah, I was going to say, I disagree with the premise. I think that's actually a better question now, because before you wouldn't have to ask, because everyone's watching Lost, everyone's watching Breaking
The question
Bad.
before is, how come you're not watching this? Everybody else is. It was the peer pressure thing. I think the peer pressure is almost gone with TV and movie watching.
No, now I do hear that question. What are you watching? Because I'm interested. And then I'll tell you what I'm watching, and then we can discuss and see if you're interested in what I'm watching.
Because ironically, because ironically, in 2022, in an internet-driven world, sometimes the only way you find out about anything is word of mouth. It's weird all the ways in which we've rolled time all the way back around because of the way the technology limits us, that is supposed to make things, and in a lot of ways does, more convenient. We've looped back around to 1922 in certain ways. We've got a lot of disposable entertainment that will, be there if you need it, but most people are dismissive of things immediately after they see them because they have to jump on to the very next thing. There's, again, too much stuff all coming at them. They're trying to keep up. You got companies that don't want you to think about the thing they just sold you 3 seconds later because they've got something else they want to sell you now. This is a huge problem with video games at all. And then this idea, it's 1922 in certain weird ways, that somebody's got to tell you what to go look at. You might not see a commercial about it, not because the commercial's not there, not because the studio didn't pay $50 million for advertising, but because there's too much advertising, and there's too much people not looking at traditional advertising. I see far fewer commercials than I ever used to, DJ. It's much easier to get entertainment without having to wade through ads than it ever used to be.
That's because you have YouTube Premium.
YouTube Premium, I pay for part. Half of it is for that reason, and I know not everybody does, but I know some people do. besides me, because at least a sliver of my revenue comes from the people that are watching premium as opposed to ad revenue. It tells me every month
cool.
how many dollars I get from premium. I don't fully understand how that works, but if people aren't looking at ads because of premium, you still somehow get paid something. So other people are using it. I make a little bit on that, and then but then, like, you know, the cord cutting thing, like Tom said, I'm not watching broadcast TV. I saw commercials for the first time in probably like 6 or 7 years during basketball season this year, because I paid for YouTube TV for 3 months to watch college basketball.
Yeah.
So that was weird. That was nostalgic in a way, really.
TH1 put in another $2 super chat to say, I mean specifically in regards to on TV. I feel like that's what we were talking about. I don't know what he means by that.
Okay. Well, if we didn't quite answer the question the way he meant it, I think the conversation we had based on his question was interesting enough that we'll go ahead and move on. But thanks for the super chat, Tom. Appreciate it. Both of them appreciate it. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna go on to the next one.
He just put in another one, and I don't want to go half an hour and then get to that. So let me just read that real quick. Another $2 super chat.
Right,
like, when do we stop calling streaming shows TV? Oh, that's a whole other ball of wax.
Interest. Oh, is that all he was asking?
If that okay, well, I you know what? I'm glad I misread his question, because I enjoyed that conversation. I think, with respect to Tom, what I thought he was saying was way more interesting than what he was actually saying. I have a very quick 10-second response to that, and then we'll move on. DJ, this is still a phone. Doesn't look like a telephone. Doesn't smell like a telephone. The last thing I do on this is actually talk to anyone on it, but we still call it a phone. I don't know that calling streaming TV ever goes away, because you're watching it on a TV. I think that's the main thing, is that, like, if there are shows, and I realize that you watch movies on TV too, but if they're on a TV, but if there are, I'm pointing that way because that's where my projector is, where I watch things. If you watch a show that is streaming or otherwise, I think it's just in the vernacular. People forevermore will call that TV, especially because at some point broadcast TV might go away. I don't think the term does.
Yeah, I mean, what else do you call? What else would we like? I guess we could just call them series. Like, I think in like the UK they call them series.
But they still call it TV too. You know, they have the telly.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just colloquial. I think we'll still use it. The signs for it will be different. Like, if you tell a kid these days to do a phone sign, they won't do this anymore. They'll just do this. Like, my 1-year-old daughter does this now. It's really weird. They don't know that a phone used to be shaped like this.
I gotta say this real quick. In Nightfall, there are some instances where characters use the word phone. And because it's a shortened form of telephone, the writers, and I think it's multiple writers even, felt the need to put an apostrophe before the word phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so weird how much things have changed.
That's hilarious. Someone in the chat said that he misses the Cape and he thinks it deserves a reboot. So I'm going to ask this question, and then I'm going to go scrounge up my DVD and see how many episodes there are, because I'm interested now. This one is from Terry Young. $19.99 super chat. Wow. Why?
Oh, thank you so much. Goodness.
Why do you think every serious Batman film, Burton, Nolan, and Reeves, all focus on the exact same period of Batman's life? The early years, loner Batman. The year one / Long Halloween era in comics. Will they ever move forward?
So real quick, the Cape had 10 episodes.
Oh, awesome.
And one of them didn't even air. One of them aired online.
Hey, there it is. Hey, that's the next marathon. You heard it here first, folks.
Okay, so the question was, why do we keep going back to early days of Batman?
Mm-hmm. In all the serious versions of Batman, yeah.
And is he just talking about extra media or comics as well?
Yeah. I think he's in Batman film. So yeah.
Okay.
Burton, Nolan, and Reeves.
Yeah, because I mean, like the premise is somewhat off, because Snyder answered that by going to middle-aged Batman with BVS. He was like, "Oh, we like you said, we like to do early Batman a lot, so wouldn't it be interesting if we had, a 40-something-year-old Batman, which wasn't a bad idea for that one project. But when you're like, let's bring Batman into the DCEU, we're hoping that we make like 12 movies with him. I don't know that you'd want to cast that old, but that's neither here nor there. So, yes, you're right. We do it a lot, but we somewhat recently have tried the other thing. Well, and also, let me say that a lot of that also was, because you mentioned Long Halloween and stuff, the main reason we did it there was the other big thing people have heard of is Dark Knight Returns. And we like that imagery, and we like the idea of, like Batman later in life starting to lose it. What does he do?
Yeah, I guess he just doesn't consider that one of the serious.
Oh, I see. Fair enough.
He lists Burton, Nolan, and Reeves.
So with let's just go back to Burton for a second, and this might apply to most of them. But I would argue that with Burton, it's not franchise thing. Burton's not thinking maybe there will be more movies after this. Even the studio isn't. They don't know if it's going to perform, despite how much money they're hoping it will. Obviously, it was one of the most expensive movies ever made at that point. I think the most expensive movie filmed in England at that point, if memory serves. But they don't know if it's going to work out. So I think it was just we're hitting the reset button with Batman. Everybody thinks of him as, at this point, remember 1989, as this campy thing. We don't want to do, and I always respected them for this, we don't want to do a straight-up origin thing. But we want to make it early because we're kind of reinventing it. So I think it's just kind of natural to start somewhere around the beginning is probably the instinct. And I also think it was about what was popular in the comics at that point. The answer to a lot of this stuff ends up being Miller at the end of the day. Like, year one was relatively new, just like Dark Knight Returns. This is like 1986, I think. And that was one of the main influences on Sam Hamm, who wrote the original script. So yeah, year one is kind of the big answer there. Also, obviously, a huge influence for Reeves as well. But I think Matt Reeves is thinking franchise, is thinking, I want to reinvent this character from somewhere around the beginning. Again, it's not a origin thing, but it's real early, and I want to do a story, and some of it's the story he wants to tell. I want to do a story about Batman before he becomes Batman, and then let him grow into the role after that. And then when Batman Begins, I think Nolan had maybe a lot of rope about what kind of Batman and when in his career he would have done it, and he just thought it was interesting to go to a thing that had not really been told in comics much, or at all. Like, you had the period of time where Batman trains, but we hadn't really done a lot of stories, right after he gets back. Or I'm sorry, strike that, reverse it. We hadn't really dealt with the training itself much. Where, like, he leaves and then the story happens when he comes back is what it was. So some of it is influences of stories they're adapting. Some of it is we're doing a franchise, so we're starting at the beginning. And some of it, honestly, probably is a little bit of that studio thing of we like starting at the beginning so we don't confuse anybody. But we dodged the bullet on Origin a lot with Batman, despite that.
People are notifying me in the chat that the stream is lagging pretty bad.
Well, sorry about that. We've been having some issues with that lately, and I've been doing everything I can to solve it. I don't know why that's happening right now, but hopefully it clears up here in a little bit.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Next one is from Logan Dodd. Hey, Logan, $4.99. If you replaced Feige, what would your first 100-day plan for Marvel look like?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me who I would replace him with. I'm really glad it didn't go there.
Well, it's on you, buddy. You got to do it.
Okay, never mind. I maybe like this less in certain ways.
Logan, he wants a 100-day plan. He wants it all planned out. Like, what are you going to do?
Wow. Well, it's hard not to immediately go to cynical places and start with, like, if money and...
Burn it all down.
if money is no object, and if I'm allowed to do anything I want to, forget practicality concerns, forget studio mandates, any of that stuff. If I'm the dictator of Marvel, and see, I wish you hadn't asked this, because I know I'm gonna tick off some people, but it's just my personal feelings about where the MCU is right now. I do two things. I get rid of everybody who's currently heading franchises except for, or that has been around, if I can get them to keep making movies, with everybody, with the exception of James Gunn and Sam Raimi, and bring back the guy who was directing the Spider-Man movies. Because I think he's a good director, and I don't think what I don't like about the last two is really his fault. And I am in the camp that he wasn't a bad pick for Fantastic Four, and I wanted to see him try that, and he left that over creative differences. So I would keep him around if he was willing to, if I could give him creative control, and then he was willing to do it. I would completely axe what we're doing with Thor. Depending on what's going on with Black Panther, I might retool that too, but I don't really understand that project, so like I'm not totally sure what's happening there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go into that completely blind and hope I like it, because I've not been keeping up, and it seems like it's impossible to keep up because it keeps changing.
It keeps changing, and I don't know how it keeps its date. Like, if tomorrow we find out that that's pushed back again, I won't be surprised at all, because we're pushed back I don't know if it has been, but I don't see how that comes out this year. It's supposed to somehow, or is it next year? I don't know, but like I don't see how that keeps its date.
Yeah,
I've heard nothing about that actually filming or anything. But what else would I do? I would slow down on the Disney Plus shows, because I think they're really shooting themselves in the foot on that. I think they might be losing people a little bit. I don't know how well those are actually performing. I know when I do polls about that, people tend to be pretty positive about it, but I don't know actually how many people are really keeping up with those things regularly, because I think it's oversaturated. I think they're putting out too many at back to back to back, and a lot of people I know are a little bit burnt out on them, even if they're liking them, where I just can't keep up. A lot of people keep forgetting that Moon Knight was even on. It's already over now. It just seems like as soon as the last thing is done, and you're like, and you realize you haven't started it, something else comes up. So yeah, I don't know. Right? Like, I would slow those down a little bit.
Well, the whole 2020 kind of messed them up, because they had so much catch up to do that it was even worse than it was supposed to be, because all those shows got all bunched up together. I feel like it should be slowed down now that we're all caught up. But yeah, it's still too much.
My apologies for the lag and stuff. We're still getting complaints about that, and I can't tell you why that's happening. It shouldn't be. It really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's weird. I have the stream pulled up too, and it's completely buffering and stopping for me.
Is it really? So it's not even just like our voices are fine, like it's stopping. Great.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know if it's completely unlistenable, guys, because there's still a good people here, so I don't know exactly. I don't exactly know.
I spent 2 hours trying to deal with this the other day, and I thought I had it figured out, and I did a commentary last night that broke down on me the day before, and I had to start it over, and we got through that fine. And on my end, I'm not getting error messages or anything.
Yeah, and we're fine. Like me and you talking to each other is totally
It's
fine.
not a connection thing between us.
It's just like the streaming thing.
Matelli says Cap would have rewritten Thanos probably. Yeah, but he's saying if I got the reins right now, like I'm stuck with whatever they've done already.
Yeah, Cap makes another Infinity. He remakes the Infinity War movie.
Darth Bobo says I'm using too much bandwidth. I'm watching Superman and the Mole Man on another window. No, I'm not.
You just can't get enough.
No, the only programs I even have open right now are the ones I'm using actively for this. It doesn't it doesn't compute. I don't understand what's happening with this. Mutala, you wouldn't keep Ryan Coogler. I mean, I forgot about Ryan Coogler. I guess I would, but
Yeah, is he doing it? Yeah, I guess he might. He must be doing.
I didn't know if he was making that movie, to be honest with you, so I wasn't thinking about him. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on, shall we?
Yeah. Senior Sticks is the next one.
Hi there.
$2.
Hopefully, you can hear me talking right now. I don't know why I'm talking louder. Like, that's not gonna help.
Yeah, it's like the annoying person who like screams at a deaf person. Doesn't help. Senior Sticks, $2. Perhaps the future of Batman on TV is no Batman.
Well, it's not, though, depending, to Tom's point earlier, on what you consider TV. Because, well, actually, no, I guess it would be. Okay, but the past of Batman is on TV is also no Batman. Like, this is not new. We had Gotham, where it's Bruce Wayne but not Batman. We had that Alfred show, no Batman. Birds of Prey had no Batman. You haven't had a live action Batman show, like actual Batman show, since the 60s, and the only thing I can think of where he even shows up in a thing where he is in the where he exists in that universe, DJ, is Titans, and I was shocked they were allowed to use him there.
Yeah, that's weird. That's why would they give it to them of all things?
I don't know. People are saying it's still bad on their end. OAW is asking if it's as bad as he's experiencing it, but then people are also responding to what I'm saying, so I guess they can at least hear some of my thoughts, or what I'm saying. I guess we'll just keep going and hope it gets better if it's not bad enough that nobody can understand us. But I gotta be honest with you guys, and like, I don't mean to be bad moody or whatever, but like, this is getting infuriating because I've done everything on my end that I can. Like, I've moved my satellite extender thing closer to the machine. That seemed to help quite a bit the other day. Now it's not for some reason. And also, the regular shows were fine until just now.
This has never happened on this, yeah.
No. Or at least not to this degree. But yeah, Batman is very often not allowed to be used on TV shows because of his constant appearances in movies, but then that didn't stop, ultimately, Superman from showing up in Supergirl and then getting his own TV show, although I guess we actually haven't had Superman in movies lately, so maybe if Cavill did continue making movies, they wouldn't have greenlit Superman and Lois. I'm not sure. But, I get the sense that for some reason that's a bigger deal to DC with Batman now than it is Superman, where, like, they're aware of his lesser popularity, and I'm not sure that Warner Brothers understands or appreciates that character, even when they hire people that do, much better than Paramount and CBS get Star Trek. And so, seeing Batman as kind of their meal ticket, like DC Comics absolutely does, because that's most of what they publish now. It's just Batman stuff. They're kind of, worried about saturation and people being less interested in Batman if he's on TV, if he's in too many places, I guess. I've never fully understood the whole embargo thing with that, but
yeah, it's really weird.
Okay, people are still complaining real bad about the stream. How many more super chats do we have? Because we might just have to wrap up pretty soon if this keeps going.
5 or 4. One of them got retracted.
Okay, and everybody says that it's just getting worse and worse. And there's nothing I can do about it on my end. Because if I stop and try to start again, now we've got 2 videos.
Yeah.
And now I am getting error messages.
A couple people saying that it's basically just the picture that's freezing and the sound is okay.
Well, if the sound is okay, then we don't have too big of an issue. But if people just can't follow the stream at all, there's no point in continuing.
Yeah, I just want people to hear their super chats get answered. So hopefully, like TH1 just put in a $2 super chat.
Yeah, that's the only reason that I'm concerned about it, is if people ask a question and they can't get it answered, that's not cool.
Yeah. So Tom says it stops periodically, but it's mostly just picture. And then earlier someone said it sounds fine now, but it might be video. I'm not watching, I'm just listening, he said. So.
And OAW says that he's not directing Black Panther 2. Mutali says that he is. Okay, so there's discrepancy about that. I've not, like you, I've not been paying any attention to the production of that.
I can't keep up with that. It's changed so much.
Cinema Arts, thanks for being here. Okay, well, let's try to answer the rest of the super chats at the very least, if we can.
All right.
And hopefully things get better. I'm getting blue instead of red on my side in the performance window on OBS, so now it says the stream quality is better. So maybe things will get, maybe it's looking up, All
right. Well, CM Productions wants to know, would you rather shout "Shocker" or "Rachel"? Which one?
So I want to say Shocker because it's hilarious, but I know I have to say Rachel because I just do it all the time. I guess that's more fun for me. It comes up more for whatever reason.
Well, I know more people named Rachel than I know named Shocker.
That's true. You know what? It's funny that you say that, too, because my wife's sister's name is Rachel, who I'm very close with, and I've never, ever done that to her.
You should start.
But I'm not sure she'd appreciate the reference. I don't know if she'd get it. So, speaking of...
That would make it better.
Speaking of Rachel, I meant to do this earlier, but I just thought of this because Rachel took me to get my first tattoo, and it's her fault that I have so many tattoos now. It's time once again for, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this because of the stream issues we're having, but it's time once again for... Cap's tattoo talk. So I posted about this. A lot of you guys have probably seen this already, but here is my new tattoo. This is my tick sketch drawn by Ben Edlund that I have had permanently drawn on myself by my wonderful tattoo artist Elmo, who, by the way, I haven't set up a date with him yet, but in the not too distant future, he's going to come on the show and talk about tattooing comic art and talk about my tattoos and such, and that will be a lot of fun. I am sure he's a neat guy. I think you guys will like him. And he and I kicked that around last time I saw him, and I think it would be a fun idea. So we're gonna have him over, and it'll give me an excuse to have him to the house, and so it'll be a lot of fun. But anyway, Tom won the Super Chat contest a couple months ago. A month and a half ago, whenever it was that we did that, got to select from a list of subjects, and he picked the tick, and so that's what I got. And DJ, the reason I got it on my arm here is because I have this Nightfall tattoo, and before I got the tick, I didn't have... The Nightfall tattoo was up so high, nobody ever saw it, because it doesn't, like, peek out the bottom of a short sleeve or anything. So, like, nobody ever saw this. So now that I have one here... if anybody ever wants to see it, then they'll also see the other one. That's the whole reason I did that.
2-for-1 deal. It's
yeah.
Surprising, though. I think they're just getting, whoa, look at that. 2 of them.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how close they are together, because it looks like the tick has this weird expression on his face because I chose to get a Nightfall tattoo. He's like, why would you do that? Like, why Nightfall?
It's like he's thinking, it's like the Nightfall logo is like the thought in his head.
That's a thought bubble?
Just
That's
get a
hilarious.
thought bubble drawn around it. Especially because he does look like he's thinking in that sketch. That is very cool. I like that sketch. That's kind of like the simplest one you've gotten, or no, I guess not simplest, but like thinnest lines.
The simplest of the art tattoos. I have like comic art type stuff. Because I have a couple of logo tattoos. Or just symbols. I've got my Gold Ranger symbol. The King kanji, and then I've got your Geekvolution symbol. But yeah, a lot of people are telling me it's their favorite, and when if I get more, I'm thinking about more simple stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there'll be more. Tune in next week for
it won't be next week.
Tat Chat with Cap and Elmo.
On the yeah, don't say that because I don't know when that's happening, but it'll be in the not too distant future. I'm thinking if I do another leg tattoo at some point, it'll be Ninja Turtles. I'm thinking about doing an early Eastman and Laird thing.
All right. Well, Robert Wild, Truman Show syndrome became a thing after that film. I'm guessing this is in reference to our whole discussion about film concepts becoming more in the public consciousness after Groundhog Day and stuff.
Do you mean that we started making too many things like that, or that people were just interested in that? I guess I don't fully understand that.
I'm guessing
that
because
comment.
he says syndrome. I'm guessing there's people that like thought their world was
Oh,
manufactured. I don't know.
well, sort of like the Matrix thing, right? Where it's like we must live
yeah,
in a program.
Can't stop talking about that ever since the Matrix came out.
Yeah, and maybe
Still, over 20 years later.
Yeah, there's a reason that's my favorite movie. It stuck with us. It's still relevant.
Yeah.
Maybe more so because we actually live in a cyberpunk future now.
But yeah, I've never thought about the Truman Show thing. That's fat. That would be terrifying if I did have that fear.
Yeah,
Couldn't trust anyone.
Maybe he's also speaking to that idea of people that are somewhat that struggle to tell the difference between reality and fiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in that movie, it also like parallels to like people being stuck in certain belief systems and not being able. Like, there's a lot of ways you can interpret that movie.
Oh, of course, yeah, and just assuming that the world is like the way you see it in media and stuff. But
yeah, or I guess the most base way to think about it is just like it's like a coming of age, the coming of age that we all go through, where we think the world is nice and shiny and good guys and bad guys, and you have to find out that it's much more complicated than that.
It's related to, and I wonder if this is kind of the same syndrome word a thing that you could be diagnosed for. It's real similar, DJ, to the fear that everything you see is in your head, that like you're the only thing that exists, and
Yeah.
that idea.
Yeah. I should buy that movie. I've only seen that movie once, but I don't.
Oh, it's
own
wonderful.
It. I love that movie. That's it's the only movie I've ever liked. The only Jim Carrey movie I ever liked. So I need to get that one. I really liked it.
We should do a commentary on that.
That would be fascinating. I like that movie a lot.
Raymond Nightmare, do you think Greg Berlanti is going to get kicked to the curb? I want to say yes, but I think what's a lot more likely to happen is he just gets picked up by another network and fails upwards, just like Alex Kurtzman or something.
Hey, Busted Sim says something killed the creature from the Black Lagoon. The stream is fine now.
Yeah, people have been saying that for the last few minutes. So
also, Soul of Ruby popped in to give me my my daily Milo Ventimiglia comment.
I thought that the first time I met you.
Yeah, well, the very first time I hopped on a call with you and Eric, that's what he said to me.
Oh, did he?
It was the Infinity War spoiler cast I did with you and Rasco. That was my first spoiler cast I did. And Eric was like, "You look like a cross between Milo Ventimiglia and Tom Holland." And I was like, "Thank you." I guess that's good. I'm not gonna complain about being compared to a famous, good-looking actress. I guess actress. Wow, actor. It's getting late. All right, Michael McAllister, $4.99.
Little known fact: DJ worked as a waitress for like the first 3 years he was in the job market.
Oh yeah, totally. I had to pull my hair back. It was a whole thing. We got another one. Probably just to spite you, Michael McAllister put in another one. Who would win in a fight, a traffic light or a stop sign?
I'm team stop sign. AMC says, imagine if Cap got his Nightfall tattoo on his back. It'd be wild to get one that simple, that large. I mean, if you're talking about like a big back tattoo, because you could get one that small just back here, but if you're talking about like a big back tattoo, if I ever
like a
did
Superman
that,
logo in the middle right there, like a little small one.
it would be something more complex probably if I did a big back tattoo. I don't have plans for that. I don't think I'm that guy, but never say never. I know exactly what I would do if I did that though.
Ooh. But to hear that, you'll have to tune into Tat Chat with Cap and Elmo.
No, I'll tell you, it would probably be the Death of Superman S.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna get like Van Gogh's Starry Night on your entire back.
But like the Batman one that I have on a T-shirt. Have you seen that? I have Van Gogh's Starry Night as bat symbols.
Yeah, just your whole back. It's just that T-shirt.
That'd be great. Cinematographic Witch Turtle. It really just depends on the art piece I find that I like the most to use. Like, I'm kind of fine with any of them, especially because I want early Eastman and Laird, and unless they're carrying a weapon, you can't tell which one it is.
Sure.
So, because the art pieces I've been looking at most lately have been like real early stuff, like either kind of concept drawings or just bits out of panels from the first few issues. Jason wants me to do the cover of the Raphael micro series, which is not a bad choice. But I've also been looking at just a head with the kind of angry face, like the really iconic like Turtles angry face.
Yeah, where their mouth like that, or it's like half their mouth is closed, but then it makes like a half circle balloon with the other side. That's what I would draw as a kid. That's how you drew a turtle.
Same here. That's really nostalgic for me.
And then it's just that's turtles. I would draw turtles a lot because they were so distinct. Like the head is like the most distinct head in comics. Like it's not just everyone else has a round head. Turtles have like these big flaring cheeks that stick out.
When I was in elementary school, all the kids that were doodling in class were doing Ninja Turtles and they were doing Sonics.
When my first maybe my first date with Grace, we went to Mellow Mushroom, which is a pizza joint chain around here, and on the like kids menu, I drew a Ninja Turtle. I don't know why, but I was like, look, I'm gonna draw a Ninja Turtle, and she liked it, so I knew she was for me.
Rainbow Nightmare is insisting that Powerpuff Girls on CW is still in production, and I just haven't heard anything about that recently, so I didn't know if it was, but I want to say I'll look into that, but I'm so depressed about it I don't want to. But I wonder if they've recast the actress that left.
Just halfway through, like they keep the same actress in the pilot?
Well, no, they're not going to use that pilot. I mean, they'll have to... It was weird. It was a Star Trek original series situation, which almost never happens. They are so sure that's going to be successful, they asked for a second pilot.
Oh. What?
No, I knew that it was still, they were still trying to keep going with it. It's just I hadn't heard anything for a while, so my hope was that we would get word sometime soon that they decided to shut it down, especially after that actress left. But no, they said after they didn't pick up the pilot that, like, we've asked them to rework it.
I want to get that pilot. We need to get access. Someone needs to leak that pilot, please, so we can watch it on the channel. Do a commentary on it.
I don't know why you like watching me hurt myself.
You guys did that crappy Amazon pilot?
Yeah, but I don't have as much investment in Wonder Woman. Like, and I mean, it's bad, but... Or are you talking about something else?
No, yeah, that's what I was talking about. You guys did a commentary on that one. I don't know. I think it would be fun to do.
Well, that wasn't Amazon.
It was called Amazon.
No. So that was Wonder Woman. There was a... So Amazon was a CW project that they passed on, that didn't even get to the pilot stage. That was going to be another early superhero thing that's Wonder Woman, but it's not really Wonder Woman. It was called Amazon. Wonder Woman wasn't CW. That was a terrible pilot for a different network. For was it NBC? With Adrian Palacki.
Yeah. I knew it was before it was before the whole Arrowverse got going, but I just didn't. I got those two confused, I guess.
Just before, but yeah, it wasn't called Amazon. That was a different project that never happened, because that's a thing that CW always insisted on doing, with the exception of calling the Aquaman pilot Aquaman. But if that had gone to series, I'm still positive it would have been Mercy Reef, because that was what that was originally, the title that was originally under. He was still in a place called Mercy Reef. You can't tell me they weren't going to call that Mercy Reef. And then there was the Graysons. You remember the Graysons?
The Graysons. Man, how do you think you can get away with calling a show Amazon today? Like, if you like, I
How
just
could
think
you
of
do
the
it back
shopping-
then?
That's what I'm saying.
Even back then.
All I think of is the website. That has like scrubbed my mind of any other use of that word. It's just Amazon. It's just
Yeah,
what?
they own everything. No, I feel bad for anybody named Alexa.
Oh, yeah. We went on vacation last weekend for our anniversary, and we went up and stayed in a cabin in the mountains. And they had Siri instead of Alexa. The whole house was like powered by Siri. Just in a couple days of saying "Hey Siri," we came back and we could not switch back to Alexa. We kept saying "Hey Siri," and Alexa wouldn't listen to us. And it was I couldn't believe how fast that habit formed. It was really weird.
Can I tell you what I'm most surprised by with that story, though? That you guys actually still use digital home assistants. Because that was like a cool fad for us for like 3 weeks, and then never again. Like, we unplugged them, we don't use them. And some of it, I guess, is that kind of listening thing where you're like, I don't like the idea that somebody might be able to hear everything we're saying. But more of it was just, I'm set in my ways, and I kind of forgot about it, and I quit using it. It was kind of a toy for a while. Like, I don't know anybody that actively uses those. I guess I do, but I didn't realize it.
The only thing we use it for is, sometimes we'll play music, but mostly it's just for timers when we're cooking.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's so convenient. Just Alexa, set a 7-minute vegetable timer instead of 30-minute
we were doing
rice
that for a while, and then we just kind of forgot about it and quit doing it.
Yeah, it's just so convenient. I hate like whipping out my phone and setting a timer, or just forgetting and burning everything. So that's what we use it for. But in that house, it was like a really cool cabin, and everything was set up to it. So like the lights were set up to it, and like you kind of had to use it. So it was pretty cool.
Robert says he also has that Van Gogh Starry Night Batman shirt.
Oh, it's a revolution. A geekvolution. Senior Sticks, back again, $2. Please review the cape if possible. And you can find.
Scene.
If it doesn't happen, it's because of this guy, because I am down. I'm so down.
All right. No, I'll definitely consider it. Should we do it as a blind marathon, or should we actually like watch it and talk about it?
Oh, no. I'm not down for that. I'm just down for a marathon. I'm not going to like spend my normal time watching it, but I'll watch it with you.
Okay. Fair enough. He's like, look, I'm not going to give it my undivided attention.
No, only divided. Divided by 2.
Here's as far as I'll go.
And cape.
DJ's like, this is as far as I'll go, and I'm very passionate about this notion for some reason. What I'll do is I'll turn it on, occasionally glance at it, and say things. I really want to do that.
Yeah, I really want to do the minimum amount of effort. That's what I want. Because it's so much fun watching that kind of stuff with you. Like, I'll also do that Michael Chiklis superhero family show. What was that?
No Ordinary Family.
Yeah, I have that too on DVD for some reason.
Why do you have that?
In my life, I used to just buy everything superhero, man. I'm telling you.
I mean, I've got this huge superhero collection. You own both of those. I don't have those yet.
I'm telling you, man. I'm the one who sent you some weird stuff back in the day. I'm the one that sent you Zoom and Underdog and that.
You sent me Underdog? You're responsible for Underdog?
Yes. I sent you a 5-pack of Zoom, Underdog, Super Capers. I think there was a couple other ones.
Super Capers, yeah. I didn't know that was you. That's crazy.
Did I send you that other one that was like a James Gunn thing?
Super?
No. Oh, sorry. I don't know. Maybe I sent you Super, but there's one that he just wrote a little bit on that was way before that. It was like a team. Oh, anyone know what I'm talking about? It's like a team of superheroes. I really didn't like it. It's along that same lines of like raunchy. What is that called? That's a long.
I'm not sure right off, but
I mean, I had that Boy Wonder movie that you guys just reviewed. I have that. I've had that since it came out.
Wow.
Like I used to buy everything superhero, and then I just stopped. It was like the 1, 2, 3 punch of like Dark World, Spirit of Vengeance, and the Wolverine, which I really didn't like in a row. I was like, okay, maybe I don't have to buy every single one of these anymore.
Wow, you must have hated my rewind on that, because not only did I ramble about that for way too long, but I gave it way too high of a score.
No, I don't hate people with different opinions.
Well, yeah, because if you did, there's no way you'd still be here, or you're just, or you're just going through the motions and collecting a check, and then going into the private Discord when I'm not around and just making fun of me. Like, how does he like this crap?
Yes, the specials, Madman coming through.
There it is.
Specials.
I haven't seen that yet, but I remember that over there. So you have sent me some of the most obscure things I have. Moreover, you've sent me some of the things that I haven't seen yet, but will show people when I tell them that people have sent me weird superhero stuff I didn't know about.
I'm telling you, man. I sent you like a 5-pack. I meant to send you another one. With Boy Wonder, and I was gonna send you. There's another movie called Special, just Special, where it's like a guy who has like who's kind of mentally challenged but thinks he's a superhero. Which it's kind of sad, but it's got the guy from The Pole Bearer. He plays the cop in Friends. You know the guy who plays the cop in Friends when Joey saves Ross, but he actually saves his sandwich?
Yeah.
He's the star of it, and he plays. Like
it sounds a lot like Defendor.
Defendor is great too. I have that. It's also like Griff the Invisible is kind of playing in that same sandbox.
Somebody sent me that, which may or may not have been you.
I know. I don't know.
But I haven't seen that. Anymore.
But yeah, I really like Griff the Invisible when it came out.
Man, and you know, I'm so behind on like weird superhero B movies because I keep hearing about random ones I didn't know about. There's so many more of them now, and I don't even have a copy of that Boy Wonder movie. I had to rent that.
That was a dark movie.
It was good though.
Yeah, it was one of the better ones.
Defendor is quite good though. I still recommend.
Defendor is probably my favorite. I would say. Of like the normal person becomes a superhero, I might put it above Kick-Ass. I think it's definitely above Super for me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I would need to.
That's easy for me, but
I think Defendor is more my style than even Kick-Ass.
Yeah, I don't. Those are hard things to compare to me, but I'm not sure which I'd put above the other because they're after different things. And Kick-Ass is certainly still a little more stylized and feels a little bit more in a comic book world, even if it doesn't want me to think it does, because Defendor has no jetpack.
No, Defendor is much more. I don't know. I was gonna say much more heartfelt and hit me in a more. But I guess some people were pretty moved by Big Daddy's death.
Yeah. No, I thought that was handled really well.
Yeah. I think maybe the sequel of that movie just kind of like left a bad taste in my mouth. That's one of the worst
completely
things
fair.
Ever.
It is.
Still a good score though by Henry Jackman. I don't know why he put so much work into that movie because no one else did.
Yeah, seriously. No, he's a workhorse, that Henry Jackman. Oh, speaking of scores, we've still got to do our top 10 superhero movie scores.
Let's do it, man. I am down. Maybe that'll be one of the first Tuesday videos we do, or whenever we start that up again.
Whenever we start that up again, yeah. Yeah, let's talk about that soon. We need to get that done. I'm gonna need at least a little bit of time to listen to stuff.
Yeah, get back into it. I did that when we were gonna do this probably like 6 months ago now, and I got in the zone for a little bit and started listening to it again. But
I'm sorry if I wasted your time with it.
Oh no, it was good to do. I just like listening to it, but I have to do it again. I have to refresh a little bit.
I gotta tell you, part of the reason I've put it off, and I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and do it. Part of the reason I put it off is I don't like doing that knowing we can't play the music.
Yeah.
Like, I want to actually play the music while we talk about it, and we're going to get copyright flagged all day long. And, I mean, I don't have to make money on that video. If I could be sure that it wouldn't get blocked everywhere, I'd just do it.
Yeah.
The only other possible thing we could do is just make it a podcast and not actually put it on YouTube. But I kind of hate to not have it here.
Yeah, I mean, that's something. I think a lot of people will be interested in that might not necessarily go to the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a bummer about the copyright thing. But music is like the biggest. Like, I know you've had a problem with images, but I know like tons of channels have problems with music. Music is like
it's much worse. Yeah,
big one. Yeah.
Yup. Well, anyway,
we'll do it eventually. It'll be fun.
Look, I'm trying to be positive and uplifting, DJ.
Shall we sing another one?
You know, I just
might. Play Landslide.
Landslide reprise.
All right, we've got some super chats here I should probably get to.
All right, let's do that.
Terry Young put one in for $4.99 but retracted it. Not sure what that. I don't know if we still get those or what, but Just thought I'd mention it. And then thank you for that if that does come through.
No, appreciate it. Yeah, it was just no. I think just the message goes away. He sent like a GIF or a sticker or something.
Yeah, I don't know if he just he didn't mean to send it or something, but he retracted it right away. So thank you, Terry. And then the Sixth Ranger, cool username. I've seen him. He's popped in on my channel. I like that name. $5. Cap and DJ. If you could join any Power Ranger team, which would you choose and why? Love your channel.
So I'm boring and give the same answer to this kind of thing all the time, but it's really hard not to say Dino Thunder just because I like those kids and I would want to hang out with them, and they feel as much like real people as anybody ever did in Power Rangers. So, like, I think that has to be my answer. What is yours?
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, it's like, how do you answer this question? Do you answer it like that, where it's like, this seems like the people I'd want to hang out with, or do you just pick the one that you want to get to play with the toys?
Being Power Rangers, I guess I should have gone with the more superficial answer. I didn't think of that. But yeah, where it would be about the costumes or the powers specifically, or the outfits or the Zords or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I guess if that's the case, then I would probably, go with... probably either Kaku Ranger or Ninja Rangers or Ninja Storm, because I really like the ninja aesthetic and the animal Zords, and you get powers in Ninja Storm and in
you get powers in Dino Thunder.
Yeah. You get powers, but it's kind of lame. I mean, you just scream, or you have a scales on your arm, or you can move really. I guess the speed. Connor gets the long end of the stick.
And Tommy gets to be invisible.
Yeah, that's true, because the actor wasn't around.
No, that's not why. It ended up being fortuitous that's what happened. They didn't know that was going to happen when they gave him invisibility powers.
That was really lucky.
It was really lucky, or at least I don't think they did.
We can't get this actor. We don't have to show him. He could just get stuck in his invisible form. It's perfect.
Can you imagine, though, if they were like, okay, we know that we've got Jason David Frank for 14 episodes, and then after that, we got to make him invisible. So let's introduce invisibility in episode 5.
If that is true, then that is amazing, and they deserve all the credit for that choice, because that was very forward-thinking.
To be fair, it was only like a 40-episode season, so they might have written the whole thing at once. I mean, I know the original Mighty Morphin was written that way. At least before you got to the back 20.
The back 20. The back 20.
Curse you, back 20! Why did we waste our time watching any of you?
The back 20.
We hate it.
That's like, the back 20 is like the precursor to like the back 4 of all the Netflix shows. It's like, hey, the show's pretty good, and then, they should have ended this 4 episodes sooner.
Yeah, if you go back and watch the first season of Mighty Morphin, go to Doomsday, and just don't even bother. There's some fun monsters and stuff after that, but...
All I remember from the back 20 is the monster that, like, jumps underground and goes... and pops up in other places, like the plant monster. I don't know why that's stuck in my head.
All I remember...
That must have...
sorry, what were you saying?
I was just going to say that must have been a good Mania that we did. 'Cause for some reason, that sticks in my head.
All I remember is frickin' Angela.
Oh...
I hate her.
Angela.
I hate her. Cinegraphic, for me, it's the Zeo Ranger team. If we're just talking about toys to play with, that's definitely my answer.
Yeah. Cap loves Egypt. Big fan.
You know, and like, not really,
and
but
shapes.
For some reason with that season, I did have maybe that's an aesthetic I've always liked, but I've never gotten to the history or anything, because I don't think of myself as like an Egypt fan, or like really interested in like hieroglyphs or mummification or like any of that, or pyramids or any of that kind of stuff. But then like I always really liked the aesthetic of Stargate and stuff. So like maybe, but I mean like I've always got it.
Maybe,
I've always got this thing right here. It got
and
stuck in a cord.
You don't have to... Oh, I didn't hear the sound. It didn't yank the cord out.
I don't know what that cord was, but I guess it was one that wasn't important enough.
Maybe you're just a closeted Egypt lover. Who knows? Let it out. Let it out, Cap. If you like Egypt, scream it from the rooftops.
Egypt and zombies, I guess.
Egyptian zombies.
Tell your friends.
The original Mummy. Tell your friends. All right, we got one super chat left. People are complaining that the lag is coming back, so we should probably get through this one. Are you going to check out Strange New Worlds? I have seen the first 2 episodes, and it's pretty refreshing and feels like classic Star Trek. Oh, don't get his hopes up. Don't get his hopes up, Dylan. Dylan the villain.
Dylan, with
the $5 super chat.
With all due respect, buddy, and thanks so much for the super chat, I don't believe you. And
his hopes have been crushed too many times.
I am gonna watch it because I'm too curious. I don't, and I'm not watching it with any like. Paramount Plus has cried wolf too many times. Like, I ain't gonna let myself get my hopes up and think that there's any chance, especially because the person I'm seeing in thumbnails for videos connected to that show, DJ, most talking about it, is Akiva Goldsman, and he's writing the scripts on that, so no, like, I don't trust it. He wrote a lot of Picard, and he was already a really crappy writer, and some of the worst episodes of those shows are written by decent writers, usually, somehow. So when the real crappy writers that were already bad before the new Star Trek get a hold of those shows and are show-running them, I don't know if Goldsman's actually show-running, but I think he might be your co-show-running, and I'm not sure. But, God, he had a horrible reputation before that. Like, this is the caliber of people they're getting for these shows. And, anyway, I don't trust it. I'm curious about some of the, like, TOS alum characters that are in that show, like, Mabanga, and, they've got an Uhura in that show, and such and so on, and I like the Anson Mount a lot as Pike in Discovery, regardless of some not good material, of course, that he had to work with, but I'm expecting it to, Sorry, what's the matter?
No, go ahead.
I'm expecting it to try too hard to make me believe that it understands what Star Trek is about. Discovery Season 2 with all of its promotion, they don't get merchandising, with all the promotion before that season came out, they were overcompensating really hard, going, look how much more lighthearted we are, and then you watch that show, and it tried to be more that way, but it was also still really super sappy and still went as edgelord as it could whenever it got the chance. And I don't know that this show will do that, but I just expect it to not be authentic because it's still these same people working on it, and they don't like Star Trek, and they don't get it. And maybe it will help that they're finally going episodic and not doing a hackneyed mystery box plot again, and big villain behind everything plot again, and plotting episode to episode again, but like I've seen their short tracks that tried.
For sake.
Well, thanks. It won't.
The
be.
Promotional poster looks cool. I mean, it does look like they're trying to go more classic. Who knows? Who knows? Dylan the villain claims to know, and he says it's pretty refreshing. Thanks, Dylan the villain.
I hope so, but I don't actually have hope though. I hate to say that, but I don't.
No mo hope. Well, that is all I have for the evening, as far as super chats go. I do have something I didn't think I would ever hear. Robert Wild said that the first look of Margot Robbie in the Barbie movie looks, all caps, perfect.
There's no data.
No data?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Star Trek broke it. Star Trek Talk broke it.
We really have to stop talking about Star Trek on the show. Guys, let us know if you can hear us right now. Because I'm going to assume not. It says no data.
No data, guys. That's kind of unsettling.
Are we still broadcasting?
Are we alive? Are we in the Matrix? Are we in...
Are the comments that are currently coming in from like a minute and a half ago?
Probably. They're still talking about Barbie, but I can't tell if they're talking about it because I brought it up or just amongst themselves.
Yeah, maybe they don't even care if we're still broadcasting.
Who needs us? We're basically just here to aggregate a community of people. They don't need us. They've moved past us. They've moved beyond us.
I'd watch a Barbie movie.
It's apparently supposed to be
I mean, if
Pretty
it's
good team
tongue-in-cheek
working
and
on it.
fun, like, there's potential for something, fun and silly to be done with that, I suppose. And Margot Robbie is an amusing choice.
Yeah, that's the first look pic. You're not gonna be able to see it, but it looks like a toy. She looks like straight up.
Yeah, sure. No, that's great. No one's telling us if they can hear us, and I don't see how they could right now.
Can you hear us? Oh, we're so sad. We're just screaming into the void, asking people if they can hear us.
This is gonna be the first Captain Logan show that doesn't have a play-out music.
Yeah, no ending.
No ending at all.
Stopped. It's still lagging along on my end. I have the stream open. So
I feel like somebody would have made a comment by now.
yeah, well, and the chat would have stopped if the stream went dead.
Oh, okay. Hot Soup says that he can hear us.
Oh, good.
Okay, I assumed we were talking to nobody, which is why we've kind of stalled out here. It says stream status, no data.
No data. We've completed the stream. We've used up all the stream that YouTube has. We finished it. Oh yeah, Connor.
Just everything about this stream is bizarre. I don't know what's happening.
Dylan the villain. You're welcome, Dylan the villain. I just hope that the hope that you're giving, Cap, is true.
Well, Dylan, I'm gonna watch it tonight or tomorrow probably, and if it's what I think it's gonna be, we'll just have to agree to disagree. But hopefully, it works out okay. I'll just come back and what I'll do is next week I'll check in with you, Dylan, and we'll get to Strange New Worlds, and if it's what I think it's gonna be, I'll just do this, and then we'll move on, and that's all it'll be.
Yeah, then you're on his bad list, Dylan.
Well, anyway.
Well, I just feel bad that the CW seems to be completely on the way out, and I haven't watched a single one of their episodes. I feel bad. Maybe I should do that in solidarity. Should I watch an episode of Arrow?
I mean, I can tell you the stuff that's worth watching. It won't take you very long.
Maybe I'll pop in the Cape, and then I'll also watch it at the same time I'm watching the Cape.
He's like, I'll watch it we'll bring you on for a marathon, but you only have to be there for one episode. Like you won't even stay for the whole marathon.
Yeah, I just want to pop my CW cherry. I just want to watch one and say that I done the CW thing, and then now it can completely expire.
And everybody is gonna know what I'm gonna suggest, DJ. But just because you watch is fine in a vacuum, just go watch the Clarkian episode of the second season of Arrow, because it's legitimately really just wonderful.
Yeah,
and I think you'll like it. Yeah, we're getting messages really late. I don't know what's going on. Nothing about this whole thing makes any sense.
We're not lagging. You guys are lagging. You're the problem.
Yeah, we've got it set to normal latency, and I think it's a YouTube thing this time around, DJ. I don't think it has anything to do with my connection, because again, you and I haven't had any problems whatsoever with Skype or anything.
No, we've never had this problem. It has to be. Blame YouTube, guys. Everybody write your nearest YouTube congressman and complain.
Nobody put any more super chats, because we're gonna go ahead and finish out the show. And if anybody did put in super chats that we haven't seen, because we're getting messages like 5 minutes late right now, we'll just tackle them next week.
Yes, I will write them down. I'll save them. Don't worry. Never fear. The moderator's here.
This is gonna be weird, because DJ, I'm gonna go ahead and close up shop here, and what's gonna happen is we're gonna quit. People are still gonna be watching us for the next 5 minutes.
Into the future.
Yeah.
Or the past.
Time keeps on slipping. Well, everybody, thanks a lot for being here and for your patience through the weirdness. I'm not gonna take the blame on this. I don't think this is in any way my fault, but I'm really sorry about it regardless. And if it keeps happening, I'll keep looking into it and seeing what I can do about it. But I really think this time around it's a YouTube thing before it's my internet thing, but it's hard to say. Anyway, thanks a lot for hanging out with us. We sure appreciate it. I will be back again tomorrow night, finally, with I'm surprised nobody asked about this, and that nothing about this movie came up tonight, but the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness spoiler cast is tomorrow night. I wanted a chance to see it a second time. What are you laughing at, DJ?
Robert Wilde just said something funny to me in the chat, but sorry. Carry on. Doctor Strange.
Austin and I, in case you didn't see our commentary breakdown video, we ended up doing kind of a mini how we felt about that movie there. So if you can't wait for tomorrow and you want to know my initial thoughts on that, you can go to check out that video. At about midway point, we start talking about, maybe 30-40 minutes in, we start talking about Doctor Strange 2. But I have seen it twice now, and I'm glad I did, because I picked up on quite a bit that I didn't the first time around, and I have more to say, and it will be interesting to talk about. That'll be me and Connor and Austin at 10 o'clock Central Time. And then Sunday night, I am planning on doing a secret video. I don't want to say what yet in case it doesn't happen, but yeah, I don't want to say anything. It's nothing major, but I just don't want to, get anybody's hopes up about stuff people care about me doing that I might finally be doing. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you again soon. I was Captain Logan, and that was DJ Martinez.
See you later, guys.
Later, folks. AMC Comics. At the point that you're posting this, no, it did not already end, but we are ending it right now. Anyway, later, folks.